The subject today is social well-being, and we will begin with this thought experiment where we are imagining a hospital emergency room, which is entirely artificial intelligence. So AI does everything, runs all of the tools, and makes all of the decisions. And this is the situation. There are three patients in this emergency room, one who needs a kidney transplant, one who needs a heart transplant, and one who needs lung transplant. Without these transplants, they will die. Then one patient enters the emergency room with a sprained ankle, which is a very minor um, debility. The question is, what does the machine do if it has been programmed to maximize social well-being? And I think that there are a number of options here. It's counterintuitive, but it seems like the most obvious option if your only goal is to maximize well-being overall across the entire society. And here in this example, the society consists of four people. It seems as though we are in a situation now where three people are going to die, and the person with the sprained ankle can be cured fairly easily. But perhaps we could take the kidney, the heart, and the lungs from the person with the sprained ankle, and the result would be instead of three people dying and one person living, now we have three people living and one person dying. It seems like, in terms of social well being, that would be an option to follow, even though it may run against some of the other ways we think about what should happen in a hospital emergency room. Now, there are some other possibilities. One possibility is that we could leave the person with the sprained ankle to be cured on his own, and then choose between the kidney, heart, and lung patients, flip a coin or do a lottery, and allow one of those to pass away, and then harvest from that person organs for the other two. So in this case, we again have three people who survive and one person who dies. But the person who entered with the sprained ankle is not part of the equation. So I want to say two things here about this thought experiment. Um, First, when we think about reality in terms of social well-being, uh, we need to think about how things will turn out for the best for everybody overall, without thinking of what the consequences are for one or another individual. That was the point of the first solution, where you say that the person with the least injury, who is needs the least help, is the person who ends up dying in order to save the other three. And then the second point is not just that you look at the overall well-being, but you might want to think about this in the long term, because I suppose it's true that if people start to understand that someone going into the emergency room with a sprained ankle might not survive that entrance, they might stop going into the emergency room. So maybe in that way, it would be better. You could justify, in terms of overall social well-being, the second option, which is that you choose one of the three who were going to die anyway, and just make the almost mathematical decision to subtract or harvest their healthy organs to save the other two. You know, there's quite a bit more we could say about this decision. For example, we might say, let's think about this in terms not of social well-being, but human dignity. In that case, we might say, look, in no circumstances can we use one person as a means to save other people. So the entire logic, we might say, of dealing organs from one person in order to save another, that entire logic must be rejected. Or we might use the principle of fairness, and we might say, look, if we're treating equals equally, then there are no circumstances in which we can justify just selecting one of the three who are all equals to die while the other lives. And then finally, if we talk about autonomy, right, we might say, well, of course, this is an abridgment of someone's personal freedom if we select them as being sacrificial to save the lives of others. They may choose voluntarily to do that themselves, but they can't simply be selected and forced to yield their organs to save other patients. Nevertheless, within the field of social well-being, if we only think about and exclusively think about what is best for everyone overall, then it seems like the two solutions initially proposed come into play. So this is what I wanted to do first, as we've done for each of the preceding principles. We have begun by trying to get a sense of what this particular ethical principle feels like. What is the sensation of social well-being? And one way I think to communicate that sensation is the sense of sacrifice that exists, and the question about who should be sacrificed in order to make things better for everyone overall. I think, as I say, I think that within this idea of social well-being, there is a sense of violation of something like individual autonomy, maybe a sense of violation of fairness. But on the other side, there is a kind of mathematical certainty. And it's difficult to dispute the idea that if we're in a situation currently where one person will live and three people will die, then it seems at least mathematically to be preferable if we do what is necessary to reverse the situation so that only one person dies and three people live. And we do that regardless of what they may feel like as individuals or even how they should be treated as individuals. Because what we are talking about now, and the only thing we are interested in now, is the welfare of the collective overall. So I think that's the sensation of social well-being.